So the Bible says, and he spake a parable unto them. So he was talking to them, but he's talking to us to the end. And what is the reason for this parable? That men ought always to pray and not faint. So what it means is that you should always pray and not give up. You should always pray and not stop praying. You should always pray, and always pray means always. So pray in the morning, pray in the afternoon, pray in the night. If you can pray 24 hours of the day, it is possible. Pray. And when we say pray 24 hours of the day, it doesn't mean just sit in the house and pray, because we have been given the technology to always pray. So you can be praying in the spirit while you are walking in the office. You can be praying in the spirit while you are doing some other things. And as you pray in the spirit, you are connected to divine frequencies of communication, so that you can download the will and the plan and the wisdom of God per time in the enforcement of whatever you have to do that day. So he says, men ought to always pray. So if you fall into the configuration of what is called men, if you fall into the category of what is called men, if you call into the designation of what is called men, he said, men ought to always pray and not faint. So prayer is not optional for a man. Prayer is not optional. When we say a man, we're not talking about a male man. We're using the word man in a generic form. We're talking about humans. So prayer is what every man or woman should always do. Whether you are a Christian, pray. You are a Muslim, pray. You are a Jew, pray. Whatever you are. And if you have noticed, all the religions of the world, they have a time they pray. Muslims pray 5 times in a day, and Jews pray 3 times in a day, and sometimes a believer don't pray at all. And the question is, how do you expect to become effective in the absence of prayer? Don't you understand the power of prayer? Prayer is engagement of spirits. So when you stand in your prayer altar, you are engaging spirits that will come to help you that day. When you stand in your prayer altar, you are activating forces, spiritual forces that will come into partnership with you to give you a better result. So that is why the Muslim doesn't pray and doesn't play with the time of prayer. And once the time of prayer comes, it doesn't matter how many millions you have in his shop, he said, wait until I finish prayer. Sometimes they pack their bus and you can be complaining, and they're on their way from Enugu to Abuja, and they're on their way anywhere. It can be on their way from Moscow to another city. It can be on their way anywhere, and they're the ones driving. Once it's time for prayer, they pack to pray, and you have to respect that prayer. If not, become the driver. They close a whole market to pray. And Jews alike. Is a Christian sometimes that wants to manage prayer and wants to be economic about prayer. No. This year 2022, if you're going to see increase on all sides, then you must understand that increase is delivered on the platform of prayer. Why? Because in the place of prayer, you engage the wisdom that delivers increase. Men ought to always pray and not faint. Prayer is not optional. It's not what you do when you feel like. It's what you must always do. As a matter of fact, when you wake up and don't feel like praying, it is time to pray. When you wake up and don't feel like praying, that is the right time to pray. The reason is that whatever is making you or holding you back from praying is telling you that the enemy is within the corner. So, rise up and pray. Men ought to always pray and not faint.